Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. What was your childhood like living with 7 siblings?
Living with 7 siblings
Yes.
was very interesting because I was the younger of seven siblings. I'm the last younger out of the seven. I was number six.
Okay.
And so I had gotten pretty good attention. Uh, and and there were times I got no attention at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like more of a protection. Uh, you do it, the work, um, they're calling you. Um, the things that I had to do, the chores, stuff like that. The older ones didn't, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very interesting. If I had to do it again, I
You
would.
did. Good. Okay, what was it like going to school and what type of education did you receive?
Going to school was very interesting. You got to understand, when I first started school, my relatives had first, second, third, and fourth grade. So whatever I did, they reported back to my mother, either my father, because it was relative. Everybody's related. And then I left South Carolina and came to Connecticut. And going to school in Connecticut was very interesting also because at that time I came from a desegregated school to a segregated school.
Mm-hmm.
So I had different type of teachers, different mixture of classmates, and it was very interesting. It was good. This is when I started to really kind of understand different groups like Boy Scouts and different ones, plays, and getting into things in the elementary part of school.
Okay, and tell us about your Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts was I was the troop leader in the Boy Scouts. It was there at a school. Of course, West Avenue School was my school, and we had went to the jamborees. We had learned Morse code. We had learned how to do different things as far as rope tying and knowing how to knot canoeing, swimming, fishing. We learned things with the older men, and the scouts was good. The only thing about the scouts was I didn't have a parent. I was living with my sister, and many times they didn't have actually time to be with me.
Mm-hmm.
But we just kind of hang in there because we like those things.
Right. So, how did you make a living before you retired?
Now, before I retired, I was a driver, a trucker. Now, by trade, what happened was I learned the trade of painting and lining tanks. That was a trade. Uh, in the process of painting and learning to lining tanks, I had to drive truck because I had to load the tanks on the trucks and move them around. Because I did the trade, I learned how to drive truck. The trade company moved to Pennsylvania. I did not move, so therefore I lost my trade job. And back in 1970, at that time, my pay was $11 and something an hour, and that was in the 70s, and that was big money. And now I lost my trade,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to fall back on driving truck, and I drove truck for Valerie Transportation for 28 years, Red Star 7 years, and I retired from Red Star. And then after I retired from Red Star, I went to the Board of Ed, and I'm driving truck for them, and I'll be retiring in at least 2 years now.
From the truck driving that you do now.
Yeah.
And what was your favorite memory that you had from truck driving?
My favorite memory, I'll never forget it. I was coming down Route 81 I was coming from Syracuse, New York. And down 81, I was driving a truck that needed to go in the shop in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I got to a curve and a loop, and the steering wheel started to slip. And I knew that I was not going to make the curve. But somehow, some way, the mercy of the Lord held me in there.
Right.
And I made the curve. And I never forgot that to this day.
Good. Okay, what influenced you to actively get involved in the gym?
What happened was, I was loading on the dock, loading up my truck to go out. And one morning I got real sick. And so I went to the hospital, and they found out that I had gallstones and the gallbladder problem. And I had operation on the gallbladder. And when I went back to the doctor, he told me I was too big and too heavy, high blood, my sugar had started to rise, of course, the blood pressure, and I needed to lose weight. And so by losing weight with the gallbladder, I went into the gym and I lost more weight. So that kind of prompted me. Once I got into the gym, I liked the exercise. Well, I exercised anyway when I was in my younger day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go ahead and exercise even if I don't feel like it. I do it anyway for health rise.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning as we get older. You do things even when you don't want to do it for the better of the body.
Right. What's your typical daily workout routine in the gym?
Okay, when I go in the gym, first of all, I come out, look at the clock. The clock, I space myself an hour and a half every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I start on the bicycle. I do 10 minutes on the bicycle. Then I do the steps. And I walk 10 minutes on the steps. And then I go to the stomach bar of the stomach machine to help my abs. And I do that for 20 times three different positions. Then I do what you call upper, and I do what you call lower. Upper one day, lower the next. And I work each machine no more than about 3 sets of 10. Some of them are 10, some 20.
Oh, good. How do you think today's generation differs from the one you grew up in?
Well, number one, this generation days today is not as respectful as when I grew up in. And the attitude is much different. This generation is somewhat smarter than what I grew up in, but they are less effective in togetherness. You got a lot of people doing things themselves, self-made, self-everything. So this generation also doesn't get the chastisement that we got when I was growing up. So you had to be respectful. They taught you respect, and you just don't have it today.
Right. What influenced you to be a pastor, and what is your favorite message to preach?
Well, this is the thing about being a pastor or even a preacher. I never wanted to be either one. Number one, I never really wanted to be. I just wanted to go to church and please the Lord. But in pleasing the Lord, I was told by different prophets and different ones, the Lord had anointing on my life. And I realized after a while, yes, something is happening to me. And I've been raised up in church, bottom line. And I was taught and trained to go to church. And so when I got to the point of the age to do it myself, I knew something was happening different. And so I went on ahead and they told me in church the reason why things were not going to work out for me like it should, because I was denying the call of the Lord. And so one day I accepted the call and went on ahead and participate in the role of leadership in the church.
Right. And what is your favorite message to preach?
I don't have a favorite message. It's like this. The message is Jesus born, died, and resurrected.
Right.
That's the message.
That's the message?
Yeah.
That's the message? Okay. And what advice can you give to achieve a successful and prosperous life?
Now, the Bible has it laid out. The advice I give actually has to be out of the book. If you live according to the ways of the Lord and spare not yourself, not be different or indifferent to anyone, but love everyone. If you call upon the Lord with all your heart and abide in his word, you will be successful and blessed. But you got to understand, you're going to be tried.
Right.
In such a way, the enemy is going to try to fight you on every turn. But you got to hold on and hang in there.
Right. Oh, that's good, Pop. I'm finished.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Are you gonna smile? Okay.
All right.
We can take a selfie in it.
Okay.
You can put us in it.
All right.
And I have pictures of us. Thanks, Pop.
All right.
Perfect.